Hey guys. Okay, so I'm coming in with my 3-week update. I'm a day late, but I make no promises. I've made myself some notes so I don't forget anything. Um, well, I'd like to say that I had a big loss this week, but I didn't. Actually, most of the week I was up a little over a pound, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a little discouraging, but it is what it is. I know I'm not gaining a pound of fat. I'm eating less than 500 calories a day. So, I'll just stick with it. It'll come off eventually. When I did do my official weigh-in, and normally I don't weigh every day. Just somewhere along the line this past week, I decided to hop on the scale, and I saw the gain. So then every day I was on the scale trying to see if that gain went away. And it did finally go away yesterday on my official weigh day, which gives me a loss of exactly 0. I was exactly the same as last week, but like I said, it's okay. It's not going to rule me. I'm just going to continue. I've read some stuff. Sounds like it can be perfectly normal. It'll be all right. I'll be down that 170 pounds, and we'll look back at this and have a good laugh, I'm sure. And I'm sure there's going to be other little, gains and stalls and stuff along the way. So it's okay. I went to my 2-week post-op appointments with my doctor, who is Dr. Siddiqui at Miami Valley Hospital in Dayton, Ohio. That was the day before Thanksgiving. I went to see him. He said I was doing really good, and he let me go to soft foods starting then. Originally, I was supposed to be on full liquids for an entire month, and he said he didn't see any reason to continue with that just go ahead and start with the soft foods. So while I was there, he said, "Do you have any questions?" And of course I do. Um, I said, "I have questions about the picture of my stomach that you took for me." And he was like, "Okay." He said, "What's your question?" And I said, "Well," so I pulled out my camera and showed him the picture of my stomach. He needs a refresher. He sees stomachs every day. I said, "Are they all this long?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Why is it so?" I said, "Is it rolled up? Like, why is it like so long?" And like, I expected it to be shorter and wider. And he said, "Well, there's nothing in it. It's deflated." And so then he said, "Do you have any other questions?" Well, of course I do. So I went to the next picture of my stomach, and I said, "Okay, so is this the top or the bottom?" And he said, like, "This is the top, this is the bottom." And I'll show you guys a pointer, picture here in a minute. I'll insert. So that night, for dinner, I have been just craving a scrambled egg. I thought I'm going to make a scrambled egg. So I scrambled up one egg because I knew I wasn't going to eat more than that. That's just silly to waste. And I put a half of a scoop of the Gene Pro unflavored protein powder in it, which has 30 grams of protein for 1 tablespoon, which is wonderful. You can't detect it in anything. I love it. So I added a half a scoop because I figured, I'm not going to get enough protein in one egg, even if I eat the whole thing. So I needed to supplement with it. So I made my egg. I added extra milk just so, it wouldn't like it'd be a little bit, not runny, but so I wouldn't overcook it, I guess. Um, and I ate very slowly. I used my little baby fork, and I was afraid, because first of all, I didn't know if I could even tolerate an egg. And then it was my first, like, solid food or, soft food, but still not a liquid, since surgery. And I sat there. It probably took me a good half hour to eat half of that egg. And I decided to stop because I had these little bubbles come up my throat. And, I've heard other people have, when they have signs of when they're full, like burping, or some people get a runny nose, or everybody has different things. It's odd. Hiccups. But I had little bubbles, so I thought maybe that's my sign, so I better stop. And, you know, so then for the next half hour, I was paranoid, like, is it going to stay down? Am I going to be able to tolerate this? And I did. So the next day was Thanksgiving, and you know, the doctor said I could have turkey as long as it's moist. I can have it, and so I weighed out 1 ounce of turkey, and I drizzled just a tiny bit of gravy on it, and then chopped it all up and mixed it all up, and then I measured out, or I weighed out 3/4 of an ounce of mashed potatoes, and I had 1 green bean. So I sat there and picked at my food the entire time with my little tiny baby fork and my little baby spoon. Everyone else had like seconds and big plates, and well, I mean, not everyone. My mom didn't eat a whole lot, but everyone else at the table, they had typical Thanksgiving dinner. And I'm not gonna lie, it bothered me a little bit. Like the rolls, the smell of the rolls. You know, I kept thinking, man, I'd love to have a warm roll with butter. And then I'd say, shut up, Amy, eat your turkey. So, you know, and I really would have loved to have just gone at those mashed potatoes, but protein first. So I sat there and I picked at my turkey and chewed, and you know, because I was paranoid again, because it's my first meat. And occasionally I took like just a tiny little like taste of the potatoes, and I didn't even eat probably half of those. I had like a tiny little taste of the 1 green bean that was on my plate, and decided, you know, I better go back to my turkey. And I didn't even eat all of the turkey. I got almost through the whole ounce, and I'd say overall total I probably ate an ounce of food, maybe slightly over. You know, the plate that I used was a little tiny plate, so it makes it look like a lot of food on my plate. But I was happy that I was able to get it down. Again, I don't understand what full feels like yet, so I'm paranoid to take that one bite too many. So, you know, I may be shortchanging myself. I may be able to have a little more than what I'm having, but until I can kind of figure it out, I don't want to push it. You know, while I sat there and they gobbled their food down and I kept picking at mine, you know, eventually everyone was done, and I still had quite a bit sitting there, you know, well, not quite a bit, but probably 3/4 of an ounce of food at least sitting on my plate. And you know, I felt like they all wanted to get up. They were just kind of waiting on me, who's dilly-dallying with my food. And so I just said I was done, you know. And a couple hours later, you know, I'm pretty sure I was hungry. Like, again, I still can't differentiate between true hunger and head hunger now. I think I'm getting a little better at that. You know, it's only been less than a week that I've been doing this. So for now, I'm going to assume that these small bubbles that come up my throat are my sign to stop eating. Yesterday when I ate lunch, I never got the bubbles. So I figured, well, I had 2 ounces of, I didn't totally puree them, but I put them in the blender and pretty made them pureed. There were still some little pieces of ham and bean soup that I got. So after I pureed it, I measured out 2 ounces and took that, which everybody at work was fascinated by. They were like, "That's all you're going to eat? Aren't you hungry?" And I was like, "Mind your own business." No, I'm just kidding. You know, I probably spent most of my lunch not eating and explaining what I eat, which, you know, I don't mind educating people. It's okay. You know, now I only get 30 minutes for lunch, so I do mind a little bit because it takes me a long time to get that 2 ounces down. But like I said, after I ate it, I wasn't, I don't think I was full. I didn't get the bubbles. I maybe could have had another bite. I have no idea. Maybe it's because I pureed them. They went through faster. I don't know. Today I'm going to try some canned chicken mixed with a tiny bit of mayonnaise and see how I do with that. I'll just do an ounce and see how that goes. Well, I know it seems to be a weekly subject, but I am still having bathroom issues. I've started I've started taking stool softener twice a day. You know, I just put it in my pill box, and take it twice. I mean, as you can see, these eyes used to be green, and now they're brown. No, I'm kidding. They've always been brown. But I do think they're getting a little browner, because, you know, I'm full of it. I think tonight I'm going to try another cup of the Smooth Move tea. I'm not a huge fan of it. It gives me cramps, but I feel I'm to that point. I really need it. Last thing I want to do is end up in the hospital with, you know, a compacted colon. So I went back to work on Friday. I had to work a half of a day on Friday. I worked 13 hours on Saturday and 12 hours on Sunday. Then I worked 8 hours, or actually almost 9 hours last night. I was tired, and you know, normally on a weekday I have a secretary who helps me out. She answers the phones and helps me deal with, you know, what I refer to as the needy people. But on the weekend, you know, I'm there running the whole thing by myself, and it was rough. You know, by the time I went home in the evenings, I was really sore from bending over a lot, and I was just tired. On Sunday morning, around 6:30 or so that morning, I'd been at work for about an hour. I had this pain in my chest, like right between my breasts, and you know, it scared me a little bit because I didn't know what it was. You know, I figured I'm at the end of 3 weeks, and I don't imagine I'd have gas pain coming from anywhere. I hadn't had any gas pain for a good week, and I thought, well, then maybe it's acid reflux. You know, I didn't know what it was, but I didn't like it, and like I said, it scared me a little bit. You know, I thought, well, if it gets worse or anything, I'll just go up to the emergency room. You know, that's the plus of working at a hospital. You can just go up to the emergency room. But the downside is I still have to pay $500 to go up there. You know, unless I'm asking for a Band-Aid or something. But if they were to, you know, put me in a room and hook me up to stuff, I'd be paying $500. So I also had chills, like I was freezing, and you know, that made me nervous too. Like, why am I so cold? And you know, this went on for 3 or 4 hours at least, and then all of a sudden it just went away. And I thought, well, okay, you know, if it comes back or it's still here tomorrow, I'll call the doctor. If it gets worse or I feel like I have a fever or something, I'll go up to the emergency room. But it went away. It hasn't come back, so you know, I don't know if it was acid or what, but I mean, I take Protonics for acid reflux. Maybe I need a higher dosage, or maybe I need to take it twice a day. I don't know. If I keep having this problem, I'll call the doctor. But other than that, you know, I was just tired and ran down. You know, the days started out good, but as the time came to leave, I was glad to leave. It was rough. You know, like I said, I did a lot of bending. I was sore when I left. You know, it was a lot after sitting around for 3 weeks and then going back and working that many hours, you know, in just a few days. But I made it, you know. I'm still here. Do you remember how I told you about the girl from my support group meeting, Joy, who we were going to sit on the couch and get a picture together, and we never really did it? Well, she had her post-op appointment the same day I had mine, except hers was 2 hours before me. So she stayed over for an hour, and I went an hour early, and we got to visit for a little while in the waiting room before they called me back. And we did get that picture, so I'll put that up here. So I think it would be great if, you know, a year from now or at some point we could go back and sit on that couch and see how much more room there is in the couch. Because, I mean, I could tell there was already a little bit of room. Since the last time that we sat on that couch together, we figured up, I think I had lost like 14 pounds and she had lost like 4 pounds. She hasn't had her surgery yet. They actually canceled her surgery. They wanted to check a few things. She did get another date, so she'll be going in for her gastric bypass surgery on December 7th. So, you know, I'm really happy that she was able to get it in this year. And, you know, she'll be on the loser's bench, and we'll get that picture, and we'll have space between us, you know, the next time we sit on that that couch together. It's not a bench, it's a couch, but... Well, this has gotten long like every other video I make anymore. I promise they'll get shorter. Eventually, I'll probably have nothing to say, like, hey, how's it going, you know, so. All right, guys, I will see you next week. Can't guarantee what day since I'm back to work, but I'll get it in. See ya.